Well, what do we have here? It's a 1973 SS16 with extra set of brand new tires, another set of brand new extra tires, a wheelie bar and some hitch stuff for pulling, and a mower deck, and what else? PTO assembly, and a whole bunch of weights. You can see I got a whole bunch of barbell weights, and down there somewhere I got a set of cast iron wheelie weights. This thing's a beast. Yeah. So I just ran my little wire, my little bread bag wire here. See where's my wire? There's my wire. See my bread bag wire? I just ran this all down through these holes here in the carburetor, as far down as you can push them, in and out a whole bunch of times. There's a little one right here. It's a little bleed, air bleed. Push that guy up and down. I kind of bent my wire, but run it up and down in these air bleeds as much as you can. It'll go down about a ½ inch. Pull it back out, and then there's 4 holes on this little brass thing. You should be able to push it all the way through in both directions like this. And when it's all clean, what you should see is when you put your nozzle in this little hole right here and you squirt some carb cleaner in there, you should see carb clean come out. All 4 holes of that little brass thing. And that's when the main jet is closed right now. When you open the main jet, you'll see carb clean bubble up from the bottom of the carb over here in the corner. So I think what my problem with this was, that little brass thing down in the throat of the carburetor right there. I just showed you guys that I had carb cleaner squirting out of it. When I started working on this carburetor, nothing was coming out of that. Basically everything was blowing back in my face. So all of that stuff's working now. What I'm going to do, this is my idle screw, this is my high speed or my main jet. Right now I have this one all the way seated lightly, so I'm going to go half, 1, 1.5, and then 1 3/4 turns. Same thing on the low speed or the idle circuit. Screw it all the way in until it just lightly seats right there. So I go half, 1, 1.5, 1 3/4. This you don't really need to touch. This is your idle screw. I didn't change anything on that. And then the other idle stop screw is right here on the throttle linkage. I'm not going to change that. This thing should start and run now. So let's see. I have my ignition rigged up right now, and I have this fuel tank sitting here, so it's real janky. And let's see if she runs though. Alright, cross your fingers.
There you have it, ladies and germs.
It finally worked.
Yeah, how long have I been working on this? Long.
How long?
I don't know.
You like being in my videos, Jake?
Yeah.
You want to be a YouTube star? So here's my just for testing purposes only fuel setup. I got a Tecumseh snowblower gas tank zip tied up to the brace on the stacks to hold that up with a fuel shut off, and a nice sintered brass filter because I really like those, or bronze, whatever it is. This is a Chinese Briggs fuel pump, and on the carburetor, I don't know how well you can see it, but I replaced the fuel pump on the carburetor with just the plate from a fuel pump on a John Deere 318. So basically you take the pump, it looks exactly like a regular Onan fuel pump, but this plate is on the front. You have to drill out that port that I have the fuel inlet on because most of them don't have a hole in it. But that's my fuel inlet. Got the float and everything set on this, and right now this is my ignition setup. So I pull the headlight switch on and the ignition comes on. Everything else works fine. The only reason I did this is because it's not an original ignition switch. It's one of the aftermarket ones that just has like all the posts on the back of it that you kind of screw everything onto. So I've had issues with those before, so I just ripped the ignition wire off and tied it onto this switch. So that's my ignition, and the crank and everything works on it. So I'm going to fire it up and take it for a little run. This will be the first time I drive it. Got the drive belt hooked up, chokes hooked up. Let's see how she goes.